Mike here, Northeastern Dirt Property Maintenance. I'm building this ridge cap right now for this greenhouse, and what I'm doing is I'm doing a couple extra things on this ridge cap, and you don't have to do them, and the directions don't tell you you have to do them, but this is what I'm doing. Of course, you know me. I even deviate from my Kubota manual, and sometimes I've been accused by viewers of being overly maintenance intensive, that the owner's manual doesn't tell you to do this and that, but that's fine. It's just what I like to do, and this is how I do things. And it's definitely not always right all the time. I'm not right all the time, that's for sure. But I'm doing this ridge cap. So, what they don't show you in the book is they don't show you, we'll roll this over. And this to me is fairly important. They don't show you using any weather stripping on the inside of this ridge cap. And what I'm going to do is I've taken it upon myself to buy some of this foam, one side sticky weather stripping that you put around windows and doors, and I am going to put it on each side, 2 strips, one on this side, one on this side. So when I flip this ridge cap over, it's going to have a piece of weather stripping on each side that's going to sit on top of the greenhouse. Because I can tell you, if you get a driving wind coming from the west, where we are primarily west, and it's raining and it's driving wind, I can foresee problems of that rain. This is only 2 inches wide. That rain's going to drive underneath that ridge cap. I can just see it. And it's going to come in underneath that ridge cap. And because those are cut halfway through, those are solid polycarbonate plates on this ridge cap up here. And what you're supposed to do, according to manufacturer's spec on this ridge cap, is you take a full-size sheet, you measure it halfway, and you score it with a box cutting knife halfway through. And then you proceed to take your polycarbonate sheet and you break it in half, so half of it's still connected. And that is how you get that broken ridge up there. It's still connected halfway through on the ridge, but by scoring that with a box cutter and breaking those top polycarbonate sheets, you've now opened up the cells. You've opened up all the cells on there. As soon as you score this polycarbonate, all those little rib cells inside are now open to moisture and condensation. So I can see, if you did not put weather stripping in here, I can see rain coming underneath here, and it would then in turn wick down inside of the polycarbonate sheets because they are wide open. Those sheets have all been scored now up there, and they're cut halfway through, so you've got a crack to each one of them cells in there. And I can see water going underneath the ridge cap and dripping down here all away from your ridge cap and filling up these cells. That's just my theory of what could happen, and it could fill them cells with water. So that is why I am gonna put the weather stripping on the inside of this, but there's something else I'm gonna do too. And I'll show you what I've been doing. Silicone. Wherever the ridge cap overlaps, right here, right there, on every joint, you can see it there. Whoop, I've siliconed. That's all siliconed with clear silicone. Everywhere they overlap, I use clear silicone, and I put it across here on the overlap. So any driving rain that comes in from the top this way can't creep underneath the overlap and get inside, because sure as shit, on a driving rain, it will get underneath here. I mean, it's going to get underneath your ridge cap. And then once that rain gets underneath there, where's it going to go? Well, it's going to trickle down and it's going to lay on top of your weather stripping that I got in there. And this void could gather water, and that's not what I want. So I siliconed up every seam on the ridge cap, and that's just how I'm doing it. So that's just something I'm doing. It doesn't talk about that in the owner's manual, but I'm doing it. Between the silicone and the foam weather stripping, that's how I'm going to try my best to protect this ridge cap from allowing any water to enter this greenhouse from the top. So that's where I'm right now. So I'll put this ridge cap together and I'll get back to you. There you have it. Machine screws go heads down, threads up. They got the overlap and we got the silicone on there. Perfect. All right, so this weather stripping, I think it's 3/16 of an inch weather stripping, thick. And what I'm trying to do is keep the weather stripping to the inside of this ridge cap. So if it does compress a little bit and tends to migrate out just slightly, that it doesn't get outside the edge of this ridge cap and get UV exposure. I want to keep as much of this weather stripping underneath here and keep it from breaking down from the sun. So that's why I'm kind of setting it inside just slightly. All right, we're back at her today. We're going to screw. These are your little attachment brackets that go on the base of the greenhouse right there. And that's how you tighten up your metal straps. You just screw your strap to the base, and then you whip your strap over the top of the greenhouse, which we're going to do right now. All right, pull it over your way. And there you go. That's all you really do. You just flop the strap over top of the greenhouse. That's all we did. One guy on each side right there. Then you attach these loose hanging brackets right there to the base, just like that one right there. And you're all good to go. All right, so I got a 3-inch mark measured off the floor there for the end of my strap right there. And then what I'm doing is just running a temporary self-tapper in here, and I'll tell you why it's temporary. So I run a self-tapping screw in there. Oh, I missed my mark. How could I do that? That was a screw up on my part. Okay, so we try and center this bracket here, the whole strap, try and center it on the truss. That's all we're trying to do. And then we just go ahead and tighten it up with these bolts. Strap it on each side, screw it in on each side, and then tighten up your tensioning nut there and you're ready to go. So I got the other side tightened. This is basically your tensioning bolt. And the tighter you go with this bolt, the harder that strap is going to clamp down across that truss. You don't want to over tighten them. Just go by the owner's specs, man. I like them firm, but I don't want them over so tight that they're crushing this polycarbonate. So And that's really the end result right there. I try and keep it, and you might have to shift it back and forth a little bit, centering it, and then do your final tension, but try and keep that strap centered right there on your truss all the way up. And remember, all my polycarbonate seams are taped underneath this strap, so there's weather tape underneath this strap to keep it from leaking, and that's just what we put on there. And there you go. And that's how you attach and hold that down, those seams and that greenhouse. It just gives you a lot of structural integrity, these straps. Closes up your seams and just firms up the whole greenhouse. All right, so we got one more strap to do. That'll be the end of that one. We'll have all the straps on, that'll be done, and then I'm gonna move on to cutting the vents, those upper window vents that open automatically with the automatic vent open and closers. I'll show you. All right, good morning everybody. I'm out here. It's a rainy, kind of a rainy, wet, misty, nasty, cool northeastern morning. It's probably only about 11, I think it's 10 or 11 degrees outside right now. It's just nasty, cool, wet weather. And we're heading into almost September 1st, the end of August. But anyway, I'm working on this greenhouse. I got that window in there last night, number 1 window. Cut the polycarbonate. What you do is you cut out this whole panel, that whole panel up there, you cut that square panel out, and you build your framework as per instructions, and you just bolt your polycarbonate panel to your framework. That's basically it in a nutshell. And there is the automatic beeswax. There's beeswax. It's actually beeswax in that pressure cylinder. And that's your automatic door opener. And as that beeswax expands in that hydraulic shock there, why beeswax? I have no idea, but it expands and it opens that up. All right, so now you see what I'm saying right there. I had to put this intermediate bracket in here because the automatic door opener bracket was too low to screw into here properly. It could have been done, and I forced it last night and I screwed it in there, and it just did not allow that window to close, and just not a good setup. I didn't like it, so I put a intermediate bracket in between there, and now it's all connected. So we'll hope for the best there, and we'll move on to the next one. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning into this greenhouse build, and I'm going to shoot a series of videos on this greenhouse, and we'll show you the progress as we move along. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.